All right. Well, happy plunge protection day. So we have a lot of price action that went on today. And one thing you kind of look at is what I said yesterday was that I was just looking at the weekly to try to get some perspective on what was going on. I said this retracement was kind of deep from this last pivot. Look at the weekly again. We don't know how this candle is going to end, but if it keeps going out, we see again. I have these marked out to just keep it simple. These are the pivots, higher lows. It dug into this one a little bit, but if you kind of took a fib retracement from this previous low and went to the top, you see that it really didn't dig that much. It digged about 50% into that. So this little pullback, and you wouldn't say, okay, it's broken, it's lower highs. That's not enough. Um, so it's continuing to give you the higher lows. And today, I mean, again, I didn't go short anything, but I was kind of mad at myself a little bit because, again, I'm human. So I was like, shit, I should go short down here. Actually, I was trying to look to go short here. And then, I have a trading partner that and he was like, dude, why the hell are you going to short so low? If you were looking to short, you would, be either here, or if you got in here, this is just for a scalp because the underlying trend is weak. Sometimes you just have to have somebody. I give it this perspective. It's not. I don't believe in chat rooms and stuff like that. Most of them are really a lot of noise and can end up scaring you out of stuff that you did your analysis on, but somebody's being. Plus, you always have an asshole that always thinks that, you know, that they'll be in the money, every single time. They're the guy that comes in and a day like this says, "Listen, I bought at this low," and they'll come in at the end of the day like, "Ha ha ha ha! Look, I made all this money off this thing." Shut up! I just hate that. So I was talking to him and I was like, "Listen, I told you guys that I had a couple things that I was looking at to go short. I was looking to go short Etna. It would have been 1 day and then it would have ripped my face off. But I didn't go short because again, I wasn't seeing the underlying trend really that bad. I also was looking at Goldman Sachs and I was looking, but I was like, you know what, this isn't, it's not really doing much. It's not breaking down per se. Um, so I'll just wait. I'll just wait for it to break some type of pivot or something and go from there. I had another one. Tesla was the one that I actually wanted to go in. I got stopped out here. I should have went back in and I didn't. I still like the way this chart looks, and my price target was 300. I am in AMT. I didn't know this shit was happening. And again, yesterday I thought I was going to get stopped out because again, I have my stop underneath here, and I do all my analysis. And at the end of the day, if it has stopped me out, that's a part of the game, and it has nothing to do with it. And if I could have, I'm not going to be that in the money type of guy, that's gonna say, "Oh shit, I knew it was gonna go up. I didn't know it was gonna go up, but I managed my risk and my target's around this 150 level. I'm not waiting for it to get up here. So if we get some follow through on some volume, this would be a good dude. But it's a good bodied candle right now, and I've held this from last week. I actually got in here, so I've been in for over a week with this, but I'm swing trading now. So again, it is what it is. But let's get back to the to indexes. Again, I was talking about the weekly time frame, and I said, listen, we still have a pivot low that has not been violated yet, so we have to see how that one works out. Everybody wants to guess the tops and the bottoms, and again, I believe, and I've always said that this is the highest risk, lowest probability stuff that you could do. Now, if you took some quick shorts on stuff that was breaking down, like some energy sector stuff or anything like that, that's fine. But you know, don't feel like you're the only one that's not making money because there's a lot of people that are pumping stuff and they're not pumping it to try to get you in so they can sell. They're not that big of a player. It's just a lot of people are dicks on the internet. I mean, point blank. So you just got to be careful of who you listen to. And again, that doesn't mean that I'm right and I'm wrong. And I'm always right and I'm always wrong. I just try to do stuff that increase the probability of my trades. So the QQQ still looks good. From the pivot aspect. I mean, even if you look at this retracement, you could say, okay, this retracement was pretty deep. It got below the 62%. and then it recaptured it. Again, we'll see how it goes, but it could just really rip to the upside. And again, I'm not in this trade. I showed you the trades that I was actually in. IWM, this one still to me is kind of like, of all of them, I'm like, this one day isn't getting me happy. You know, I'm not happy in the pants off of anything, just this one day. This is the chart that I'm like, this doesn't look as good, because if you go on the weekly, you can see that I mean, if it holds, that's fine, but you can see, and again, it's about what the trend, a lot of people get, you know, into the waves, counts and stuff like that, but you still have to look at the trend. What was the trend going into stuff? So even if you look at, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, higher, low, maybe you got into here, and maybe you got stopped out, put your stop below, maybe a couple bars back or something like that, but you got to look what is the trend going into it. Okay, if it's going sideways or congestion, it's just, what is it? It's still an uptrend. Doesn't mean that it's going to break down. Now, if it breaks down and pops above, even on this weekly, gives you a couple weeks of light volume, and then comes and shoots down, then we have something to be concerned about. So we'll see how this one plays out. Again, we'll see if we get the volume and follow through tomorrow. Diamond, pretty much the same thing regarding how you look at the weekly. And again, I'm glad I did that video over the weekend. I hope it helped some of you guys to look at your charts that you're looking at with your positions, to kind of just see the trend, you know, just going through the trend and just putting these simple lines there with no moving averages. And again, it kind of gives you, like, you know, if you say, listen, it's above, and again, I've migrated away from moving averages. So if you start looking at my videos before, you're like, oh, you always had a moving average on. Well, I'm progressing as a trader, and I think that, you know, I want to see what the price action is doing towards it. And again, this is not the healthiest. If you look at the diamond, it's not the healthiest separation regarding how it came back and broke these lows, came back, layered into it, and then it's grinding higher. It's still grinding per se, and that's what I'm calling where it's not that nice separation. Like something like if it came here, right, pulled back, boom, you know, came here, let's say right here, pull back in, boom, you know, stuff like that. That's what I like to see. But again, people would have been calling this and saying, what's the trend going into this sideways congestion? It's still up, so you still have to keep that bias for it. And I bet you somebody was trying their best to short it, but why short something like that? See, it comes back in, layers into it, boom, back to the upside. Again, you know, don't fight the trend. It's a simple thing to kind of take it back, take a step back, take everything off. Don't even look at this MACD. It doesn't even matter to me. You could take all this shit off if you really wanted to, and just kind of look at the volume and look at the price action, and then kind of go from there. So again, it was some rough action for people that went short. You got Microsoft really popped off this level. This was probably another really good buy. If you kind of look at this chart right here with nothing on it, you see it came back, grind down, meaning that, what does this mean to you? You know, that's the thing as well. Like, what does this grind mean to you? So if we go to the 4 hour, even we could go on to the 2 hour guide and give us a little bit more information on what's going on. Remember I told you about the grind, the separation. We want the separation, but if it's grinding down like this, going back in, that means that the bears aren't really that strong. Okay, now it can resolve itself to the up or the downside, but let it give you something like a lower high up and then pop below or something, and go from there. But you can see that it's coming up to prior resistance, and it's sort of it's actually a great trade that probably paid somebody really, really well today. Who else did we have? We had Apple. Again, Apple was moved. It's probably a little. Oh, this is longer than I wanted it to be, but again, this is still range bound, so you just got to be careful and go from there. You have Tesla. Again, we talked about. We got Netflix. Again, it's giving, you know, again, go back to that weekly, and you can see it's starting to get it's grinding. But if it resolves itself, it can explode to the upside. So you got to be real careful regarding that. And I'll go from there. Again, I'm sorry the video is so long, but I really wanted to discuss, you know, the trend analysis on the weekly is more important than people think. And I think you really got to take your time out and look at it, even no matter how annoying it might seem. But hey, you know, this is trading. You always don't have that big picture in front of you. Take care.